Okay, so since Renee is not here, so I'm gonna call the Downtown Business Improvement District meeting to order. It's January 11th, 5:35 p.m. Roll call vote. I do not have the list of everyone's name. Okay.
You want this? I can do the
Oh,
roll
yeah.
call, Mr.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Lawrence
that.
Freeman?
Friedman.
Lawrence
Michelle.
Freeman?
Present.
Jezreel Malik?
He's not here.
Tomasis Aguirre?
He will not be present.
Julian Drobnovsky?
I'm here.
Hilda Torres?
Here.
Rene Gonzalez?
He's currently on his way, so we'll mention him once he walks in.
Justin Heather?
Yep.
And Renee just walked in, so he's now present.
There we go.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So moving on to citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments that have signed up to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have one citizen comment. Ms. Carol Rizzo?
May I start?
Mr. Chair, Board, thank you for holding this meeting with an agenda and everything. I did want to, do I have to comment on, I wanted to comment on action item 5C, which is the possible action regarding the formal request to the city and Webb County for seed funding to support activation of the bid, of this bid that is over 10 years old, right? And I'm just going to read what I wrote. While seed funding is important and critical to the success of this board's mission, just as important is the underlying structure regarding public-private partnerships, including clearly defined persons in charge or responsible for decision-making at the county and the city level. The tax-based opportunities abound when looking at best practices and rationale for revitalization, and we can look at other cities and what they've done and how they have flourished connected to the downtown revitalization. Since there is at least over $90 million of valuation that is exempt from participating financially in this board management business district, it seems like there's a responsibility to the community for the city and the county to put this structure in place sooner rather than later. That's all. I wanted to say that when you're voting on C, which is, it looks like activation, which will engage the taxpayer, the assessment payer, but with the structure not in place on the other end, that those monies could be mismanaged, easily mismanaged. So I'm really looking to see that structure gets put in place on the public end before they start collecting monies. That's all. Thank you again
Thank you.
for having this meeting.
Chair, would you like to continue the meeting?
Yes.
Or do you want me to? Okay.
The approval of the minutes from the prior meeting held on December 12th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Julian, second by Mr. Friedman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, discussion with possible action on the election of officers, including chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary.
I motion to make Justin, or to request that Justin be the chair of the Business Improvement District.
This is your first or second meeting?
Second.
We could all nominate.
Yep.
Do you need a second first, or?
Or he second.
I second.
Yeah.
I was gonna nominate you.
What?
I was gonna nominate you.
Oh, it's okay, thank you. Julian. Nominates.
I'll nominate Julian.
do we first vote on him?
No, you get nominations. or-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
First
then-
is chair.
So the nominations are Larry Friedman.
I'll second the nomination for Julian.
And if I may, it might be beneficial if we go back and also check on the, I guess, the steps to nomination, because we need to determine the terms. Most of you were appointed to this committee or to this board back in 2021, except for obviously you, Justin. Yes, I mean, I just wanna throw that in there and maybe,
So we're looking at 2-year terms.
it is my understanding that these are 4-year terms,
Mhm.
but as.
No, I'm saying the leadership, the chairman. Are you looking at 1-year terms, 2-year terms? Is that what you're saying?
To my understanding, there hasn't been any board or committee guidance in place as far as bylaws for the committee. I'll be more than glad to come back or even share with you all the bylaws that may be recommended for our next meeting. But I just wanna, caution you, and before a decision is made, just so that we can have a solid structure and appointments since the beginning.
So because they're being appointed today, for those who have been committed for 2 years already, the term would then just be 2 more years? Is
So
that what
most
you're
of you still have, your term won't expire until, it's a 4-year term, so.
Okay.
And just in
Oh, yeah.
terms of the Central Laredo District, in terms of officers, it just says the board shall elect the chair, vice chair, and secretary. The offices chair and secretary cannot be held by the same person. It doesn't
Mhm.
say, how long or anything like that. There's no limit, at least in the statute itself.
So,
I basically did it for 2 years, so I mean, that's why. The only reason I nominated because of
Oh.
history, I mean, I nominated you for for a vice chair if you wanted, I mean, just so you learn the process.
Yeah.
So
Now we're very close with Julian, so yeah. However way we want to go.
for discussion, I don't mind being vice chair. I prefer not to be chair. So if anything, if I may nominate myself for vice chair instead.
It's perception.
I would second that.
So I could nominate Mr. Heather then, right?
For vice chair,
You already
yes.
did. Chair.
And I believe there are 2
Yeah.
seats available because as per the statute, it should be a board of 9 appointed members. And I believe as of right now, there's 7.
Yes, we're missing 2 general board seats that need to be appointed.
Yes.
So we vote on the first one.
Voting
We
for,
have 2 individuals nominated for chair.
how do we carry out a vote?
When
Okay.
you had all in favor voting for Judy, all in favor voting for Mr.
Justin.
Justin.
Okay.
Your last name, sir?
Heather?
H.
Heather?
Will the committee, the board consider making nominations once we have a full board composed of 9 members?
I would prefer we move forward with whomever it is and have the structure in place so we can move forward now,
Mhm.
as opposed
The
to,
agenda, that's.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know what's next with, in terms of how long it's gonna take to get 2 more.
yeah, so I
So-
prefer to just move forward with,
I agree. I mean, why wait till tomorrow when we can take care of this today?
Just a recommendation.
Yeah, okay.
So we have 2 names on the floor for chair.
Mhm.
Leaving me out, having a very best turn. So I'm in favor of Mr. Gio Ronoski. We'll start, you were nominated first, so I'm in favor of Mr. Justin Heather. Say aye, nay, aye, raise your hands.
As chair?
As
For chair,
Aye.
what was the?
You can
All
vote,
against- All against.
okay.
You moved.
I'm so confused.
So
I
just for
missed
the
that.
record, this is your second meeting and you're gonna be the chair of an organization that's interesting. Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's my editorial. That's the reason I voted against.
Okay.
So then, next item, vice chair.
I nominate Julian Rafnowski.
Second.
It's There's a motion. Any other nominations?
I nominate Larry Friedman.
Second for Larry Friedman.
What are you doing?
No second. Credibility. Exclusion.
Take care of you, I'm tired.
So we don't have a second, so all in favor of Mr. Julie Ranowski?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay. I nominate Larry Friedman as treasurer.
We have one second.
You already spent half your time at the bank.
Second.
Second by Mr. Heather. All in favor?
Third bank.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. What's the other position? Secretary? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nomination for secretary?
Eva.
Second.
We have a second. Any other nominations?
I don't think so.
We have, your last name is
Torres.
Mrs. Torres.
Gonzalez.
So we have, for Secretary Mrs. Torres, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Moving on, so we have the 4 individuals.
That's secretary.
No, that's
That
what,
was
she was
Oh, that was
secretary.
you.
Yeah.
Larry thinks that she got nominated for the treasurer.
No, Larry was nominated and voted as treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discussion with possible action on the creation of a planning subcommittee to develop a 5-year plan for BID, including consideration of collection of assessments.
So, oh,
Mary?
So this was an item that was recommended by one of the committee members. I believe the intention is to start forming a subcommittee to start developing a long-term plan for the area, for the designated area. And I would assume that this is, pretty much up for discussion, particularly if it's gonna, and I know we haven't gotten to that item yet, but particularly if there's gonna be some intention on maybe approaching both entities, the county and the city, for seed funding. I think it's good that the board is considering putting together a 5-year plan.
Who was
for
the
this.
member that asked her this? Is that you, Julian?
well, I was gonna motion to combine B and C since they're related.
So is this sort of from like last February when you wanted to do a committee to work with the downtown to create a survey and figure out what were the needs of is that sort of the same thing?
Yes, it's just expanding on it to create the 5-year plan, and the fact that there could be assessments attached to that. So it's, if anything, a compounding of the past one to include.
And you have I assume you have recommendation of who this subcommittee member should be?
No, I think it's for general discussion. But I'm not sure if I can get a second, but I'd like to combine B and C because I feel like those are both interrelated.
I'll second.
Was the C also your item? Because this one, the C requests funding from city and county, and B is creating a planning committee. How are they related?
Because in order to pay for services, you need money, and to,
So
Mrs. Alexander's
the money
point.
at IBC doesn't exist anymore?
I'm sorry?
The money that we signed and that there was funding at IBC that we signed, so we were asked to do signature card for. We were back in the first meeting that we were at.
So those funds, I have no idea what's in there. The only history that I know of when it comes to those funds is that those funds were, from my understanding, seed funds that were contributed in order to create the business improvement district. Those are not assessment funds or anything. It's just leftover funds from the creation. I'm not sure if Larry can speak to that. You were there. I think you were a board member at the time.
Right.
But I don't know how much. It's probably very little money.
So the request of funding for the city and the county, that's from the assessments then? Or that's a separate, you're going to ask for separate funding outside of the assessments?
So point of order, there was so we're having the discussion to combine B and C, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the reason I'm making that request actually plays into Mrs. Alexander's public comment, which is, there is, you said 90 million?
Well, that's
Dollars
an
of-
estimate. I don't know what the
Alright.
number is, but I think it's at least.
Substantial. So the reason I'm requesting that they be combined is since there are a lot of
Exempt properties.
exempt properties that do not, under the current rules of business improvement districts, need, or in the essence of an assessment, don't actually, are not required to contribute, yet they do, in a way, benefit from services provided by the business improvement district. So making the request that they either contribute an amount or participate in a possible assessment is important, since they would be receiving those benefits. And since a 5-year plan would take those properties into consideration, I think that's why it's important to combine both of those for discussion purposes.
And then the discussion, continue the discussion. Well, first let's get a motion to combine before we start discussion again. Like they were formal for the cameras. So you have a motion to combine B and C,
Mhm.
right? I have a second
Second.
discussion. Okay, I'll ask Ms. Alexander, when you say non-assessed buildings, is that like government buildings?
Yeah,
custom-
there's a lot of exempt, I mean, in any downtown, there's a lot
But
of
they still
exempt
pay,
buildings.
they still
Like
pay
this building.
assessments or they don't?
No, exempt buildings, my understanding is exempt buildings do not pay taxes.
So it's zero
And,
value?
and I think the way this bid is set up, they will not participate, right?
Right, typically the municipal and county
Not financially,
properties will
right.
not be assessed, the assessment is, assuming it's triggered.
But there's a lot of government properties here. There's
Absolutely.
not just the city, there's the city, the
Federal.
county, the federal, and then there also, any places of worship, I believe are also exempt. Schools,
So how would you be, I guess, getting the money from that,
I
from
don't,
those assessed, non-assessed?
I think developing a relationship and, I don't know.
And I think part of the benefit of sort of combining these in terms of our discussion is, even if we were to go through the process of, turning on the assessment and whatnot, those assessments wouldn't be collected, and thus revenue that will be able to use by the business improvement district until 25 at the earliest. And if we're able to sort of work on this game plan and understand where the city and the county stand in terms of possible seed funding, we can begin what I'll call turning on some of the services, doing power washing, street cleaning, those sorts of things to sort of move
So
forward.
we'd be asking, and I'm just asking because Tiers is doing that's kind of the same thing Tiers is requesting as they're working on their sidewalk project, which I think is the first one that you all will be going to bidding.
Yeah, so for on our tours, we are doing the streetscapes, but we don't have the maintenance on the back end.
Understood. That's what-
So
that's
that's
what
what sort of the bid's gonna come in, and so, once we get those, I think those bids should be going out this month, hopefully, and we'll start breaking ground soon.
My question was, how does that differentiate from seed money that's going to the Tiers, from getting from the taxing?
It would be a separate fund, it would be separate funds from either the city or Webb County.
This is an assessment that is being done that doesn't necessarily, will not affect the collections of the tourists. It's just an additional assessment to properties per $100 valuations, whenever this is activated and,
Yeah, I've seen the report. I have a 10-year report on from till 2022 on the tax base from downtown. So, any other comment or discussion? So, motion and a second, all in favor of joining these two items together?
Right?
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. So the motion has been made on the discussion with possible action to create a planning subcommittee to develop a 5-year plan, including consideration of collection of assessments and discussion with possible action regarding making a formal request of City and Webb County for seed funding to support the activation of those assessments, right? Okay. Comments?
If I may, now that we've combined them, I think it's important that in the development of that 5-year plan, that we bring the city and county, since they are major players in our downtown, not only request that obviously they contribute, but include them in the creation of that 5-year plan, because there are probably things that they are doing that, when it comes to, like, for example, as a service that can be provided by a bid, cleaning up the sidewalks. It's something that they already may be doing on their own that could just be alleviated from them, and if they contributed, it would be something that would possibly be covered by the business improvement district, like power washing the streets. I've seen the city have their employees power washing the sidewalks along a lot of their buildings. Not sure about the county, but for sure the city. That's something that they can possibly cease to do and then contribute to the business improvement district voluntarily, since they can't be mandated under current structures of business improvement districts. So that's why I wanted to combine them, because I think not only is it good to include them in the development of that service plan, but also for the funding of those then services that they would also receive.
So, what you're saying is, if the city's paying, sorry, I apologize for that. If the city's paying for, let's say, power washing 6 blocks, you'd want to do it to where they go into bidding process and the BID becomes a bidder for the, and they pay us instead of them? If they pay the BID instead of the city employees, is that what you're?
That's just an example I'm giving of possible efficiencies we can both mutually benefit from, where the business improvement district then becomes the entity that goes up to bid to do those streets. Yes, that's an example I'm giving.
Any other
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, and I think, the same sort of goes for some of the security. I mean, a couple of folks have mentioned that light and security are concerns downtown, and I think that, we have Laredo Police Department stretched pretty thin, and if we were able to, maybe not year one, maybe not day one, but, we're able to, have some, safety and security officer sort of folks that, were able to supplement the, Laredo Police Department with, just walking up and down Itterby Day Street on the weekends or something for a few hours, and Laredo Police were able to flex their staff to other areas that may be in bigger need, then we can sort of supplement it, and there's not the concern about where that security is going to be,
So the
and paying
BID
overtime hours to police officers and things
So the
like that.
BID would be created, have higher security guards to get, using those same funds.
Yes.
Well, from my understanding, the biggest deterrence when it comes to security issues is as much as it is police, it's also people. So, playing off the example, if the business improvement district provided a service of like cleaning the streets or power washing the streets, depending on the times that they operate, those are individuals that, as they do their job, have eyes, and in a way is security, because if they see something that's happening, they can contact police. I know in San Antonio that's how they operate. They have these guys, I think they're called Central. They have these guys in vests. If they see something, pick up the phone and actually call those individuals. So that's just a benefit of having a service that included individuals that were going throughout the downtown providing that service. That may not just be a police officer. So it's just a little added benefit.
And from the meeting with the police department, that would be beneficial to them. Any other comments on this agenda item?
Well, I have a question. How would we encourage the city to do this if they're exempt? For them to participate, you know, into the assessment?
I think a little bit is about the idea of economic development and how contributing to an economic tool like this that the state provides to cities in Texas, there's that intrinsic value of, you know, if the business improvement district truly starts providing these additional services that benefit not only businesses but make the downtown look safer and cleaner, that the activation of more properties in turn would ultimately benefit the city through values increasing in the area and commerce increasing in the area, because the city does receive real estate taxes, they receive sales tax, they even receive a little bit of alcohol sales, which has been a contributor, you know, in the downtown. That's probably been the only growing industry in downtown Laredo, which is the bar and restaurant scene. So those are all, you know, I would say,
Pluses.
yeah,
benefits.
returns on investment
Mhm.
if they were to contribute to something like a business improvement
Would
district.
the city council member, through their discretionary funds, be able to fund this also?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Since they represent the city
Yeah.
of Laredo.
I think that's a city attorney question.
Yeah.
And Julian, how about the, I mean, you mentioned right now as far as cleaning, cleaner downtown, and in San Antonio, I remember you did mention to me about they have like a different sector that basically would go out and clean the streets of downtown San Antonio, and they have their little uniforms on and what have you. And this is something, I'm not saying on a large scale, but it could definitely be implemented in our downtown area for our areas out there. I think it would definitely work.
And there's discussions that we can have with the city and the county that could include like possibly doing, I'm not sure if the correct term is demo, but it'll probably come to me later, but doing something that, like, you know, we can start providing services, you know, hopefully funded by the city and county, to show what business improvement districts can truly do, so that individuals can then truly see how these operate. Because my experience in speaking to a lot of individuals that are property owners, you know, currently and even a while back, is to this day they still don't truly understand how business improvement districts function. And I think that's why it's important that we include the city and the county in all of this, because I think we need to make sure we educate individuals of this economic tool and how it can benefit them, so that, you know, going into the 5-year plan, they can truly define to us what services that they truly want that a business improvement district can provide, because some don't even know what services could be provided.
And through this item, would it be transitional? Like you're saying, once the assessments are collected, they would kind of back off, or they'd still put in their seed money, if you would, on a yearly basis?
I think that's a discussion we have to have with the city. I do think it would be mutually beneficial to us, the city and the county, if they continuously participated, since it is an economic tool and since there's probably some efficiencies there when it comes to services that the city's already providing that the business improvement district can possibly do better through a bidding process.
And I think maybe like a larger sum up front, like say the first year or two until the assessments truly kind of kick in and are actually made available to the bid, with sort of maybe a ramp down for the city and the county, is something we could discuss with them, that you can help us get started with a seed funding and then continue to participate, to your point, you know, years down the road, because you are benefiting, you know, from this. You know, if the bid cleans 15 streets, that means the street cleaners that the city already employs can do 15 more streets.
I think at this point, this is just an overall idea on how I think this really requires a solid, you know, plan of work and work with the numbers and make, in my opinion, educated, data-based proposals for decisions I will comment. I do think that, and I see both sides, right? I see both benefits on both sides, whether the city, because seed funding by definition, it's in my opinion, a one-time, thing that, and there's many mechanisms and things that need to be considered. Will the city be reimbursed once the fund is healthy enough? Because although I understand that even city properties within the boundaries of the district will benefit from all the projects that this group will put together, at the same time, there's a lot to be said on the projects that the city itself, it's already investing in downtown without any assessments, without any, purely through bonds or general fund or even discretionary funding from the council member. And I'm just throwing all of this out there because I do think that this particular topic merits a more in-depth discussion and evaluation and analysis on how this could possibly be presented, not only to the city, but to the county as well.
So the 5-year plan is that, so I imagine the goal is to start assessing in the 5 year, at the end of the 5 years. So we'll be looking at a city seed money for 5 years.
1 year.
I would think it would be sort of 1 year, there's a process there, and so, it'll take some time, but, hopefully, within a year we can get it activated. Now, the collection takes time. Obviously, it would have to be imposed in 24 for any funds to be received in 25. Just in terms of the overall topic, or the subject matter, I volunteer myself to help with the planning subcommittee in any way I can.
So, any other volunteers besides Mr. Heather?
Do it.
Mr. Larry Friedman? Julie Rondowski?
And I think this might also help whenever the property owners within the district are gonna be, either approached or learn about this and get their, buy-in as well on this special assessment. If there's something solid and in place with a timeline, with a budget, infrastructure, projects, costs, and.
Anybody else want to be a member of the subcommittee?
There can't be more than three, because that would be a quorum
Okay.
if it's for work, correct?
So
Because we are.
Well, I think our goal is to get 9 members in the future.
And I do think you all should consider having a full board at 9 members. But at this point, yeah, because right now,
So, a motion to create a subcommittee that will be looking at a 5-year plan, including formal request to the city of Laredo and Webb County, through Mr. Justin Heather, Julie Rondowski, and Mr. Larry Friedman. All in favor, say
Aye.
first is there a motion to Mr. Friedman, second? Ms. Torres, all in favor?
Right?
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Item D, discussion with possible action regarding support of the downtown summit scheduled for early March 2024.
You want to give an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a few of us have been working with Councilwoman Sigaloa, and we are in the process of planning a downtown summit that is tentatively scheduled for March 14th through 16th, somewhere in that time frame, in which IDA, the International Downtown Alliance Association, will be hopefully engaged and coming to Laredo to meet with stakeholders, both city, government, private sector, and helping us to develop a truly downtown strategy for Laredo. We have Viva Laredo and a few other plans that we've developed over the course of time, but none of them are particularly focused on downtown. And so Councilwoman Sigaloa is pulling together this summit with assistance from some folks that we will have members of the public at some of these sessions. And so my thought is just, obviously no monetary support or anything like that, but just, supporting that and encouraging everyone to attend that, both on the bid and then elsewhere in the community, I think would be a good idea.
So like presentation like they did before at TAMU where they had the individual that wrote a book about downtown, where we did the tax funding and all that.
It's from my understanding what the IDA is going to provide is they're going to provide experts in their field that it's a 3-day process where they will be coming down to Laredo, essentially doing an analysis on one of those days, or getting a lay of the land, day 1, day 2, talking to major stakeholders and property owners and government, people that work for the city and the county on day 2 and collecting all that. And then day 3, which is supposed to be the summit, they're going to be presenting their preliminary data of what they found, where they see opportunities, where they see weaknesses, how we should be moving forward. And then after that whole summit, and after that panelist on the 3rd day, I think a week later or a little time, that they're going to be providing even another update on their final findings and how we should move forward. So it's a really, IDA is huge, it's national, but pretty much every large city is typically associated with them. So I think it's going to be amazing to see what they put together for us.
And the goal is to invite all downtown landowners and businesses.
Yes, the state, all the major stakeholders, yeah.
So it's a good
So
time to do
business
surveys
and-
and stuff like that.
So that's currently up for discussion right now by the summit committee, which is trying to figure out how do we incorporate in that an opportunity to, playing into that 5-year service plan. How can we start, we need to start educating today, but come that March, when people have an understanding of what services business improvement districts can provide, showing up and making those requests. This is what we're looking for.
Very cool. So do we need a motion, or this is just since we're just in support of it, and you all are, I guess, members of that committee, I assume, so it's really not a need for a motion, it's just an announcement that this will be taking place, and we'd like to invite the downtown, hopefully all of the downtown building owners and downtown renters to this 3-day event that will include strategic planning and just how-tos, best practices, if you will.
Who's reaching out to them?
So we're trying to partner with a nonprofit, and this is still in discussion, so there's no commitment on this, but we've been talking to the Chamber of Commerce to assist with at least the coordination of everything. Ultimately, I don't know exactly how the outreach is going to be conducted. We're in the early planning stages of all that. There's also a possibility that the city is going to be, you can throw something at me, the city's going to be presenting how Miriam mentioned earlier, there's a lot of projects that they're working on. So there's an opportunity for the city to also use that summit to give an update to everyone, because people still don't fully know all the projects the city's doing.
Sort of like a vision, like what they do with the Vision Conference, but for downtown.
And like Julian mentioned, even though there's not a solid, program structure at the moment, those are some of the things that ideally will be attacked, for lack of a better word, informing the people, doing some outreach. Aside from the chamber, we also want to get, from the conversations that I've been a part of for this project, also get involved those organizations that have vested interest in downtown revitalization in other areas, culture, arts, several organizations. So more than anything, have a forum where current projects and future projects that are being considered for downtown can be shared with the community. The TERS, downtown TERS, they have amazing projects as well that they're working on. Not a lot of people know about that. Me personally, in talking to some of the downtown business owners, a lot of them don't know about the TERS, how it works, the benefits that their business area, gets from these projects. I would assume that the same for this particular district. So yeah, that's the whole idea. I think there's several mechanisms as far as outreach that will be considered.
I agree with you. I think a definite outreach for all the property owners in the CBD area is very, very important for them to be involved. So they'll be aware of what's going on. Very, very important.
Ms. Alexander, I see you will be there.
Well, I didn't know about it, but it looks exciting.
And more information will be shared with the board as it becomes available.
Yeah, we're hoping to have everything tied down by the end of this month. And then hopefully invites go out mid to end of the following month.
Is
So
there a
to
date
give everyone-
already? Is there a date already?
The-
Not yet?
You said March 14th through the 16th.
Those are the possible dates. We're trying to lock it in because coordinating with the IDA, they need to find those individuals that are gonna participate and then fly down here. So there's a lot of coordination on their end to make sure. So we're trying to be a little flexible with them so that we can get it done.
Very good. Item 6, any announcements further than this wonderful idea?
I would just, and Ms. Alexander may have a little more to say on it, but, you know, the TERS this week approved moving forward with going out to bid for the first 3 streets for the streetscape improvements, starting with Zaragoza. And then we also are moving forward, hopefully in the next 10 days, with issuing an RFP for artists to work on murals downtown to help beautify downtown. So both of those projects are moving forward. I don't know, Ms. Alexander, I know you're sort of more involved with or working on being more involved with the mural projects. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
These will be funded by the landowners or the building
Well,
owners, or?
the TERS already has, the TERS has been, I think it was created in 26, I think the values were frozen in 2016, so since 2017, the funds have been building up. Of course, it's.
No, for the murals, the murals.
Right, but so they're funded by the TERS monies.
TERS.
So the TERS board voted, I think, they've already identified the team, the consultant
Improvements.
team has identified about 10 spaces. And of course, the amount of money that's already approved, I don't think it'll go for the 10 spaces. You know, all of them won't be able, but once the bid goes out, local artists will be given a priority. And
How are the buildings prioritized?
I think that the artist is gonna get to choose from the identified locations. And I think that the TERS board is also open if an artist has, you know, a different idea, you know, to at least consider that, to infuse some fun and color, some whimsy into our downtown.
I have a question, since you're on the TERS board. As far as engineering with the streetscape, with all due respect, on Saragossa Street, a lot of properties that we're involved with there. The sidewalks that we have, they lead to nowhere. As far as, especially if you're handicapped, as far as the ADA is concerned. As far as engineering, who's gonna be doing this? I mean, it seems like it's already set in place, so is it gonna be the same people that did what we have on Saragossa? Or is it gonna be something new?
I think that the engineers that the TERS board hired they've really put in some long hours and trying to work with the challenge that is Saragossa Street. And with the goal that this is to be pedestrian friendly.
Right.
And walkable, and especially on Saragossa, that's the entrance. There is tens of thousands of pedestrians that
Sure.
that use that area daily. And I think that the plans are available. I believe they're available on the city's website. I'm not sure how you get there, but if anybody wants to look at those plans and the engineer, which has been KPI, they've been
And Mr. Hernandez
open
also on the
to-
board, he
yeah.
mentioned earlier that he
Oh,
was also
okay.
on the
Yeah,
board.
absolutely. And there's some ADA ramps. We were actually talking about, Ms. Alexander had some comments for the engineers that she had concerns with where one of the ramps was placed,
Right.
with how it interacted with one of the storefronts, and the engineers worked with us to move it around the corner so that it's ADA compliant, but it doesn't interfere with business. And the engineers spent months working with the Laredo Fire Department to make sure that you go down to, you know, a very sort of walkable way that still accommodates the larger vehicles.
Right.
They're also exploring bollards, removable bollards for some of the streets, so you can shut down the streets in favor of pedestrian traffic. The Laredo Fire Department will have a tool that they can very quickly, you know, within a few minutes, remove those bollards,
Right.
drive the truck through for safety purposes, but that to make it more walkable downtown and more pedestrian friendly.
How about Salinas Street? I mean, 'cause we have that corner right there at the northeast corner, and also the southeast corner. So that sidewalk, I mean, are you all gonna be working up and down Salinas as well?
I think that Salinas Street is connected to the second phase or the second project, the second,
okay.
not the second phase, project number 2. This is
Okay.
because project number 1 is already almost the plans are. We listened to KPI at the last meeting, which was Tuesday, and they said that their plans are almost complete, ready to go out to bid. There has been great concern, especially connected to the mall, the way the improvements are not, they're not as friendly to pedestrian traffic and retail or business as they could have been. And so I think that the engineers have really taken into consideration that what they're doing should be aesthetically pleasing and also make the businesses accessible to the pedestrians.
So the first project is 3 streets.
The project is, the first project is, I believe, 9 blocks.
Yeah, that sounds
And,
right.
but the first phase of project number 1, which is 9 blocks, will start on Zaragoza. Because the you know.
Which
the-
side? East or west?
Well, they're only doing, they're doing the north, it's only 3 blocks, it's actually 2 blocks right on Zaragoza.
Maybe it is 2 blocks from.
It's 2 blocks
Bridge.
on Zaragoza, and it's only the north side. So it's only one side of the street.
No, but which side of Zaragoza, west or east?
It's Convent to Salinas.
Convent to Salinas.
Convent to
No, it's not, no,
Salinas?
it's not. It's Flores to Salinas.
Oh, the
From
two-
Flores to Salinas?
Yes, so it's the Flores to Convent, and then Convent to Salinas. Those are the 2 blocks. Only the north side.
Only the north side, because we have, in between Flores and Convent, we have the middle building. And we're right next door to Mr. Jackson.
Right, and so you know, because you've been down there, how challenging
Mhm.
the sidewalks are on Zaragoza right now.
Right.
And to make those ADA compliant has, I mean, it's been,
Okay.
it's been, you know,
And that's Zaragoza. And then the third street is Salinas? What street is the third street?
the rest of the streets are down Iturbide. There's a monument at Santa Ursula and Zaragoza, that there's another monument at Santa Ursula and Iturbide. And then there's, I think it's 7 blocks on.
Ms. Castillo?
Mr. Chairman, may I maybe recommend having a presentation item at the next meeting from the chair so that
Oh, that's a
the
good
entire board can have a full
Absolutely.
overview on the project and go more into detail maybe with the renderings and
Very good.
just.
Everyone agree?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo.
And the meetings are open there. Of course, the TERS meetings are, I think, the second Tuesday of the month. And they fluctuate between 2:30 and 5:30 so that the people can attend. And there's that TERS website. I'm not sure how to get there, but I think it's on the City of Laredo website. Somehow you click something and you get to it.
Any other announcements? No. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Mr. Agonosky motion, second by Mr. Friedman. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.